This is the PTI Smarter Venues podcast.
Hi and welcome back to the PTI Smarter Venues Senior Leaders Vodcast series. I'm here today with Mark Tainton. Mark, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
So Bristol Rugby rebranded as Bristol Bears at the start of the 18-19 season, which also marked their return to the Premiership. So now flying high in their second season with the European Cup quarter-final to look forward to and a new training ground in the summer. There is plenty of excitement around the camp. So, Mark, it's a really exciting time for Bristol Bears. So let's start on the field. How do you see the season to date?
Well, at the moment, it's going well. We had a tremendous start with a full house here against Bath and got a very convincing win. So it gives us a good kickstart, not just on the field, but obviously off the field as well with the ticket sales we had. And things have developed from there, and they've moved on. We've had a couple of close call matches that we probably feel we should have closed out, so it would have put us in a slightly better position than we are now in the league. But yeah, our target is to stay in that top six to make sure we're playing the Champions Cup next year. And obviously, as you alluded to, we're in the quarter-final of the Challenge Cup against the Dragons, who are a local team, Newport. So we're expecting a lot of supporters to come across the bridge.
Like you said, there's a European Cup quarter-final coming too, so that sure to generate a great atmosphere here at Ashton Gate.
Yeah, it will do. I can't remember the last time when Bristol had a home quarter-final in any cup competition. So we're very excited about it. We've got a number of league matches before we come to that, so that's our prime focus at the moment. We go back into the league this weekend with a difficult fixture up at Northampton, who are flying high as well. They're second in the Premiership at the moment. So we've got to go there with our full squad and try and come back with points to keep us in contention. And then once that period's over, as you say, it's very exciting with a quarter-final in Europe. And if we win the quarter-final, we will then get a home semi-final because of our ceiling, which would be fantastic for the club. And hopefully we can kick on and spend some time in Marseille in May in the finals, but we'll wait and see.
So, taking a step back in time, so the Bears rebrand took place at the start of the 18-19 season. What drove that, and is it achieving the aims that you set out to achieve?
Yeah, well, firstly, what drove it? Obviously, we got promoted that season, so it seemed at that point of time to rebrand. But if you look back, as I said earlier, over the previous 10 years, Bristol have been top of the Championship on a number of occasions, but failed to win the playoffs to get back into the Premiership. And then when we did get back up, we got relegated the following year. With a new coaching structure coming in that season in the Premiership, we thought it was a great idea. And in fairness to the rebrand and the work that John Lansdowne put into the rebrand, it's gone tremendously well. For all stakes. Initially, we had the hardcore, if you want to say it, Bristol supporters who just wanted to keep to the blue and white hoops. That was traditional Bristol and the Bristol crest on the shirt. But I think as everyone's seen over the last 2 years, more and more people are buying into the Bears now. We see youngsters, we see adults all wearing Bears shirts, all waving Bears flags. So I think it's gone really, really well.
The Rugby World Cup meant that there was a later start to the season. Did that have much an impact on the preparations?
Yeah, a little bit, because obviously it's unusual to finish the season late May, early June, and then have such a long pre-season coming into your first game. So we divided the pre-season up. So the players through the RPA are entitled to a number of weeks off away from the club, and then physical activity coming back into pre-season. But we give them their long period off, but you can't just train week in, week out in pre-season going into rugby matches. So we divided it up into a number of weeks where they'd be in training, and we actually give them more time off than they would normally get. So a lot of the players are quite happy about it, apart from the ones who were playing in the World Cup. They have to come straight back in.
So with the Bristol Sport Group, you have a completely different model to the rest of the league. Could you describe the differences for you in your role?
Yeah, probably the main differences are that the commercial and the marketing and retail is actually done by Bristol Sport. So we liaise an awful lot to what's going on, especially on the commercial side of things, and we have an input into that. But where most clubs and most CEOs would totally have control of that. a lot of it's run from down here with a lot of our input, but not the overall decisions being made. We would be asked about commercial, advertising, sponsorship, marketing, and we have an input in that, but it's actually run by people who are employed by Bristol Sport.
So Ashen Gate is an excellent facility, and there is to be more development too. What do you make of the venue here?
Well, Ashton Gate, I mean, is a fantastic facility. We're very lucky with the surface we play on. It's a tremendous pitch, and I've always loved playing on it because, no matter what the weather's like, you can be playing on a firm surface. And for everyone who's watched Bristol Bears play this season, we try and play a very, very expansive game. Sometimes too expansive, but it's certainly a crowd-pleasing performance, and our coaches are very keen to keep it going that way. And look, this place, we filled it out for the Bath game. We've had over 20,000 people on other occasions, and against Gloucester only a couple of weeks ago, we nearly hit that target as well. So it provides everything for us. Look, you look around here, it's second to none. Everyone who comes here, they're delighted with the facilities and the hospitality they get. So yeah, what else could you ask for?
So if you could just touch on your on-the-field rugby setup, how's that at the moment?
It's going very well. Obviously, Pat Lamb came in a couple of seasons ago and had an immediate impact. He's brought in some tremendous coaches with him that develop in our players. So I mean that helps develop the style of rugby he wants. He brought Connor McPhillips across with him from Connacht, who they worked together there for a number of years. So they know each other very well, and obviously Connor knows the way that Pat wants to develop the side.
So leading on from that, the Bears have attracted record crowds this season across the league, as well as a healthy increase on average from last season. So what do you attribute to that increase?
Well, I think I attribute it obviously the second season in the Premiership. I would say probably last season, because of the way Bristol has yo-yoed over the years. Supporters may have been thinking, it may be another yo-yo year. But as we proved on the field last year, we more than adapted to Premiership rugby and held our own. And as I said earlier, the brand of rugby we're playing is very, very exciting. And also some of the players we've recruited who are playing for the Bristol Bears now are some of the best in the world. So it does put bums on seats. And looking forward, we've been quite aggressive on some of the other players we've signed for next season. So we want to keep that progression going. And the more 20 plus crowds we can get at Ashen Gate, it creates a tremendous atmosphere down here. The more we want to do. So we always strive to keep pushing forward with players we bring in and the brand of rugby we're playing. So
you've touched on having 20,000 fans in the stadium. What sort of impact does that have on the team itself?
It has a massive impact. I mean, we run out here and there's 20,000 Bristol Bears fans cheering the players on. Every 50 call we get the crowd behind us and they're cheering the players on, and you can see the players grow in matches. The first half against Bath was nip and tuck. It was quite close, and then the players came out in the second half, for example, and the crowd gave them that extra boost. So the more we can get those people coming back to Ashton Gate and supporting the Bristol Bears, not only is it great to have a full house here, but it's the influence they have actually on the players and their performance, and what a difference they make. So if they keep coming, we'll keep playing and we'll keep trying to win for them.
So obviously you've got the core set of fans that have been following for years and years and years. How are you going about attracting that new set of fans and continuing to retain that fan base?
Well, I mean, for anyone who's come here on a match day, we have the fan village outside. So when it's a nice evening or a nice afternoon, people can arrive early, they can eat outside, they can drink, they can socialise outside with their friends. We have a number of different offers throughout the season on certain games to attract youngsters and new people who haven't been to games before. And we're seeing through those offers, we're engaging with them, and it's just through our membership this year that it's increased, that people are liking what they're seeing at Ashton Gate, and they want to come back and they want to be part of the Bears setup by buying season cards for the season. And we want to continue to do that. The Bristol public have supported us tremendously over the last 2 seasons, and the more new people we can get, the better. We even get we open up to supporters from Bristol City as well, who like to come along and watch a game now and then. And, they can have a beer on the side of the pitch, watch a game of rugby, which is obviously not permitted in a football match. So they like engaging on that, and more of them are starting to come back to watch the Bears play, because I think they enjoy not just the rugby match, but the whole occasion.
So looking forward, the new training ground is near completion. Could you touch upon the scheme overall and the impact that will make on Bristol Bears?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, we're very fortunate to have this new training centre built. It's going to be the best rugby training ground in the country by far. We're quite a way down it already. We want completion. Completion has got to be done by the 29th of May this year, so we can move everything in for the players to come back from their break for pre-season. So as from next year, pre-season, everything moves to the new training centre. Well, the impact is ours. At the moment, we lease a training ground up in Cribbs Causeway. Now we own it, but also it's going to be a fantastic tool on recruitment. As I said just now, there is no other facility like it in the country. So we'll bring players there. We can show them around there what they can think they're going to train at, or what they can use, the gym facilities, the training pitches, the new indoor barn we've got, which is a full half pitch of Ashen Gate. So when the weather's not great, there's no excuses. They can go inside and develop their skills and develop their kicking with no wind and no rain. So some of the boys are getting a little bit precious, so they can stay in good conditions. So on the whole, it is absolutely a magnificent facility for Bristol Bears.
What are the aims for the rest of the season and looking ahead to next season?
Okay, for the aims for this season, no, we've not been shy on what we want to do. We want to be top six. We want to be playing Champions Cup next year. We want the teams like Toulouse, the Leinsters, the Munsters to come to Ashen Gate, to come to this facility for our supporters to see. Ideally, we want to go on and win the Challenge Cup this year as well. So there are two big targets: to be top six and to get some silverware for Ashton Gate and the Lansdowne family.
Brilliant. Well, Mark, thank you very much for joining us, and that has been the PTI Smarter Venues Senior Leaders Podcast. We'll see you in the next one.